Akhenaten, is he really a believer of the God? Is he really a messenger for the God? He's a prophet? He's a political man? He's a religious man? What's the reasons made Akhenaten believing in a new God and to invent the idea of monotheism for the first time in Egypt? Stay with us, we're trying to reveal this mystery. Welcome back. To talk about Akhenaten, we'll need to talk about his father to understand the reasons forced Akhenaten to behave like that. Amenophis III, the father of Akhenaten, the first one to enjoy being an emperor of a massive empire extended from Iraq till south of Sudan. Starting from the new kingdom, the first king in the new kingdom, all the way till Amenophis III, they were very strong warriors. They fought hard to establish this empire, and they did not have any chance to enjoy and to spoil themselves. Till Amenophis III came to the throne, he started spoiling himself, he started making big buildings and big statues, started spoiling himself by bringing 300 mistresses from different parts of the empire to please himself. He was busy actually, and he did not give any attention to the empire, which gave a chance to the priests of Amarna, the priests of the Karnak temple, to take over his power. In day and night, Amenophis III discovered or realized he's king of nothing, and all the power is in the hands of the priests of Karnak temple. To understand what Karnak temple is, he is the center point of religion in the massive empire. Every single city and every single village, starting from Iraq all the way to the south of Sudan, had to send tributes and offerings to the Karnak temple, which made it the richest part of the universe at that time. Then, Amenophis came to a brilliant idea to bring power back in his hand. This brilliant idea is to invent or to create Luxor temple, what we call nowadays. It was a mysterious thing. Scholars were thinking for many years about before why Amenophis III did not behave like his grandfathers and made additions in the Karnak temple and enlarged the Karnak temple like all the others, and he decided to go a few kilometers away from the Karnak temple to make another temple dedicated to the very same god, Amarna. And in my belief, in my theory, I believe Amenophis III started Luxor temple just to create a conflict with the Karnak temple to put this power down. Having those loyal priests in Luxor temple against the priests who are not loyal in Karnak temple will create a conflict which will bring Amenophis III back on the throne and back on the stage and back in power, and this was a brilliant idea, but it was a problem after his death for his son Akhenaten or Amenophis IV. When Amenophis III died, Akhenaten ascended the throne to face three different powers at the same time. The power of Karnak temple and the power of Luxor temple, which was invented by his own father, and also the power of his mother. Queen T, she was a very powerful woman. She managed to control her husband before, and she's trying to control her son now. In my belief, the only reason made Akhenaten believing in a new god and inventing this idea of monotheism for the first time in the history of Egypt just to be in a charge. Because he will not be able to fight Karnak temple priests and Luxor temple priests and the power of his mother as he's believing in Amarna. But when he started talking about, I'm not believing in Amarna anymore, I don't believe in any other god anymore, I believe in just one God, and the only one. I am the only one can talk with this God. I am the only link between all the human and this God. He managed to put himself back on power because he neglected all the other powers. He neglected Karnak temple and Luxor temple and made them useless, because Amarna himself is not there anymore. But the most important person then, he is the one can talk to the God, and this man is Akhenaten. Akhenaten did not invent Eaten from nothing. Eaten is known. Eaten actually was mentioned before Akhenaten. Eaten means the rounded. and it was a word to describe Ra, the solar disk. While they are glorying God Ra, they used to say, you are the rounded, you are the bright. So one of the words to glory Amon-Ra was the rounded or Aten. Later on they start using word Aten as a new separate god. Aten was there, mentioned somewhere in the mythology of Egypt. Akhenaten brought it back and went inside the Karnak temple at the beginning of his reign. Before talking about monotheism, Akhenaten started making offerings to Aten. And this was not something unusual for the priests of Amon-Ra, because Aten is just like many other deities. And to have the king giving offerings to Aten on the wall Karnak temple was not a problem at all. Just like giving offerings to Hathor or to Betah or to Anubis or to Sekhmet or any of other gods. So it's just one of the deities. Akhenaten started paying more attention and started making a very beautiful poems about his new god, about Aten. And these poems of Akhenaten attracted the people to this new god. People during the history used to worship the god because they're scared from the god. They used to worship the god because they want something from the god. But Akhenaten managed for the first time in history to attract the people to believe in the god because they love the god. He started talking emotionally about this God. He started talking about how this God, He is the one sending us the light, He is the one sending us the heat to warm us in the cold nights. He is the one look after the bird in the little egg till it comes out. He is the one sending the water in the river now and let the crops grow around us. So he started talking about this valuable God and how He's beautiful looking after us. This emotional way to talk about the God attracted the people to love Him, not just to believe in Him. And then he had to make a big step. He had to take those followers to a new Virgin land called Ilminia nowadays. He decided to take his followers to a land no any other god was worshipped ever before, a virgin land. And he gave it a name Akhenaten, or the horizon of Aten. He had to build this city as fast as possible. He used very small breaks to build the city, and this was the same reason of quick collapse. It made it very easy later on for the priests of Amon-Ra to knock it down after the collapse of Akhenaten and his religion and his capital. Who's Aten then? Aten is the hidden power behind the solar disk. He is not the solar disk itself. The solar disk itself, this is God Ra. And Akhenaten did not worship a solid God. He did not worship a materialistic God. But actually, he liked the idea to let the people worship something that they cannot see, but they can feel. How they can feel the God? Aten actually is the hidden power behind the solar disk that you cannot see, but just being in the temple, letting the rays of the God getting down to you, touching your skin, this is the way to worship the God, and this is the way to feel the God. So every day in the morning they have to go to the roofless temple to worship the God and to the prayer by just letting the body exposed to the light of the God. This is a brilliant idea actually, because when you are worshiping the God by just feeling it on your body, this will give the confidence to the people that the God is there. I cannot see the God, but I can feel it. The God is there. Talking about the art during the time of Akhenaten, Akhenaten is a brilliant person when it comes to art. He acted differently. He made everything back in life. Akhenaten, he was against the beliefs of his fathers and grandfathers who are talking all the time about death, all the time about the journey to the underworld, talking all the time about making the tomb full of scenes of the journey to the underworld. And Akhenaten started making all the art about life. As we see, this is the floor of the palace of Akhenaten, which is like a swamp, and it's full of birds and fish in the lake in the middle, and there is a lot of flowers all around it. Akhenaten actually made all the scenes, even inside the tombs, about life, about birds, tweeting, receiving the sun, grading the sun every morning. from the beginning of the history, and the Egyptians were very strong believers. They were thinking about living after death and about eternity and about resurrection, and it seized a big part of their consideration, and they spent their lifetime preparing for the journey to the underworld and preparing their tombs in the Valley of the Kings. But Akhenaten did not think about death at all. He thought all the time about living. Even when he searched for the place to build his tomb at, he did not go to the western side of the River Nile like his father and his grandfathers, but he went to the eastern side of the River Nile. The difference here is, when the ancient Egyptians during the whole history were building their tombs to the western side of the River Nile, this is the place where the sun sets, this is the place where the sun dies, this is the beginning of the journey to the underworld. But Akhenaten decided to build his tomb in the eastern side of the River Nile, whereas the place where the sun comes out, this is the place where the sun born. This is the reason then to see the tomb of Akhenaten in the eastern side, and inside the tomb of Akhenaten we can see Aten comes out from behind of those two mountains, and the rays of Aten going down to illuminate the world. And the first part to be illuminated is the temple of Aten, and we can see the tomb of Akhenaten, and this is the new valley, like the Valley of the Kings, but this time in the eastern side of the river, and those are the two mountains we have just seen on the wall of the royal tomb where the sun comes out from. So literally he built his tomb at the place where the sun burns, and this is the temple of Aten just in the other side of the mountains. And the first part to be illuminated when the rays of Aten comes out from the curve it burns from, which is there. So this is the place where the sun burns. He built his tomb in the heart of it, and just the temple of Aten in the front of it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you support my channel by hitting the subscribe button, which is down there, and the bell as well to receive notification about the new videos I will put on my channel. Thank you.